one tangent. There is an old saying, or an aphorism, that they were concerned that the slaves were passing themselves off as citizens. And so one of the Roman senators proposed that all the slaves be made to wear yellow armbands so that nobody would get into any place where slaves were allowed. The other Roman senator said, "Are you crazy? Then they'll know how many there are." Aren't we just trying to put those yellow armbands? So, a mistake that people make when talking about ethics is to focus on specific actions. I'm going to make the case that that's not a good idea, and then you can tell me where I've gone completely astray if I have. How many people have been directly robbed by a mugger?
Mugger.
Okay, not too many, not too many. Okay, good. How many people have found themselves paying taxes? All right, those who didn't put their hands up, talk to me after. Are you in more danger from an evil actor or an evil theory? An evil theory. Are you afraid of the mugger who can take your property, or are you afraid of Revenue Canada who can take your property? Well, no, this is the problem for us, yes, but not for the majority of people. Right? Because if you say, "I got mugged," people are like, "Oh man, that's terrible. Are you okay? You must be so traumatized. Is there anything I can do to help? What happened?" April 16th runs along. "Oh, I just paid my taxes, man." "Oh, you okay? That must be terrible." Do you need to talk to someone, a trauma counselor, anything?" "Yes, I do." It is the ethical theories that are the big problem in this world, not the ethical actors. The unethical actors, sorry. It's not people doing evil that we have to worry about. It's the people who are doing evil by believing in a theory they think is virtuous, that is not virtuous. So it's a long sentence, but does that sort of make sense? So, you know, people, if I say to you, "Man stabs woman," good or evil?
Don't know.
Evil.
Don't know. Maybe he's a surgeon. Well, no, but this is what I mean. Like, so, or maybe I was choking on something. They got to cut me open, emergency tracheotomy, whatever, right? Man stabs without anesthesia. You can create these scenarios, right? Man takes bike without permission. Is he a thief? No, maybe he's taken back his bike from someone who stole it. We all get drawn into conversations about immediate, tangible, ethical actions. But I don't think that's where the power of ethics is. I think it's a huge waste of time. And this is where we get confused in terrible ways. Rock falls down. Is that a scientific theory? No. I mean, a dog can catch a frisbee. They know where it's going to go, they know where it's going to land. That doesn't make them a scientist. A scientist, a scientific theory is something that claims universality. All objects fall to Earth at 9.8 meters per second, or whatever. That's a scientific theory. Gases expand when heated. That's a scientific theory. Mass has gravity proportional to its size. Whatever. Universals. Science doesn't bother with individual tests, except insofar as they reflect on the truth or falsehood of a general theory. Okay, so you can test the theory of gravity by dropping a rock, but dropping the rock is not the theory of gravity. It's just a simple individual test for it. And so, when you're talking about ethics, my argument, my focus is to focus on the theories that are presented and look for the logical consistency in those theories, or logical inconsistencies in those theories. Don't think about the individual actions. I think that's a red herring. That's a huge distraction. And what you really want to look for, based upon what we were talking about this morning, is that weird little flip. You ever see those guys? I always find magicians annoying. I don't know, this is maybe just me. It's like, stop messing with my head. Just tell me how it's done. You know, but they're really good at this misdirection, right? They got the bowls, they got things that women in tights, and they got confetti cannons and doves and all this sort of stuff and lighting and music, just so you can't see when they switch the card from one hand to another or something comes out their sleeve or something like that. It's the same thing when you, in ethical arguments with someone, is that there's this flip that we talked about that you're never allowed to discuss. Universally preferable behavior is universal for human beings. I mean, we're in a special moral category. We have reason, we have choice, I argue for free will, we have all of these kinds of juicy tidbits that, you know, tadpoles and bald eagles and so on don't have. But you will find that people will set up these arbitrary distinctions that we talked about this morning. Theft is bad for you, taxation is good for society. You cannot go to your neighbor's house with a gun and get $4,000 from them to send your kid to school. But when the government does it, it's moral. It's good, because we care about our children. There are these flips. And it's so absurd when you think about it. It's so absurd that we think that a costume changes the moral essence of a human being. This would be as absurd as me going to a biology conference with a whole bunch of frogs, saying, these are all amphibians, except that blue frog, he's a mammal. People say, what? What on earth does the color of his skin have to do with his frogness? Right? And there's no answer to that. But we somehow think, we put a guy in a blue costume or a green costume, that we have changed their moral nature. We have no more changed their moral nature than we have granted them the ability to fly, or to stand on the surface of the sun unharmed. Universality means universal to all human beings, irrespective of costume. You and I cannot enrich ourselves by placing the unborn in debt. But if you're the government, central bank. But this is the ethical theories that we need to attack. Everybody recognizes theft is wrong in the personal, but it's up to the status to justify, which they cannot do. How that which is immoral to the individual is moral to another individual. How do you get to flip that morality and not even openly say it? That's the sneaky part, that's the subterfuge, that's the sleight of hand that sells off our freedoms and our future. Theft cannot be morally justified. Rape, murder, assault cannot be morally justified, because they cannot be achieved by everyone all the time, either physically or conceptually. It is a moral theory that is entirely self-contradictory, that creates entirely arbitrary distinctions between different human beings. And then they say, oh no, but you see, it's a social contract. It's voluntary, it's a social contract. Social contract theory is equally easy to undo with UPB. Anyone want to try, or shall I? You guys still in there? Are you with me, brothers and sisters? All right. So, social contract theory says that, you know, if you choose to live in this society, then you choose to participate in the tax structure, and you choose to participate in the social programs, and you choose to, you know, you can get involved politically, and if you don't like it, you can go to some other place. Well, a UPB would say, okay, if that is a moral proposition for human beings, then it's a moral proposition for everyone. In other words, everyone can impose a social contract on everyone else. What happens if everyone imposes a social contract on everyone else? Nothing. It's like giving everyone the right of taxation. I tax you $10,000. What are you going to do? Tax me $10,000 back, right? I mean, you can't get anywhere with it. You all have to pay me money or leave. Well, you just turn around and say to me, Steph, you have to pay me money or leave. And you know, we can't possibly achieve it. Not to mention the fact that it's a complete violation of property rights to say a small group of people who've homesteaded nothing over the whole planet and the whole country and can order you off at will. So that's, again, there's 6 million holes in what it is I've said today. I mean, it's a whole book. You know, please, you know, download it. It's free. Review it, critique it, tell me where it can be improved. But this is a very brief example of how we can build a system of ethics that doesn't require a deity. It doesn't require you have to obey it or you go to jail. It simply requires Logical consistency.